Well, there it was. The FSA seemed to be doing rather well. Everything Margaret Cole said about credible deterrence was good. And then came the split. The incoming government announced before the election, we're going to break up the FSA. Prudential Regulatory Authority on the one hand, and the snappy little title of Consumer Protection and Markets Authority. I have to tell you, without giving away any inside information, it's fair to say the FSA doesn't altogether like that second badge. Funny that, I can't think why. And so the split was very much publicised. But then came the big question, that's interesting. The CPMA, what will it actually do? Is it going to do insider dealing prosecutions? Is it just going to do a bit of local authority, trading standards virtual work? What is its role going to be? And there's no doubt, because this was very well publicised at the time, that that was extremely unsettling within the FSA. A great deal of effort had gone into recruitment to get experienced in-house lawyers and teams as part of, if not an elite prosecuting band, a very strong band dealing with this very, very difficult type of work. And so it went round and round. One week they were going to do nothing, next week they were going to keep their powers. And at the same time, this new creature began to be talked about, the Economic Crime Agency. And this has led to substantial turf wars. Even last weekend, for those who read the Sunday Telegraph, Richard Alderman, who's the director of the SFO, was in the press saying, please don't subsume me into the Crown Prosecution Service. We're much better than that. We should be allowed to carry on our own. Of course, the big thing about FSA prosecution is it's not financed by you, the taxpayer. It's financed by those whom they regulate. And that means, compared to other prosecuting bodies, it is resource rich. Now, it may be that in the turf wars battle, others who'd like to take on the FSA's work would also like to have that subscription money. But so far, that hasn't happened. And so the debate has gone round and round. At one moment, it's being said, no, the FSA is going to lose all those powers, it's really not going to prosecute at all. The next moment, it's no, they're going to keep them, and we don't really know what's going to happen with the Economic Crime Agency. This is where we get into the world of realpolitik. It may well be that the incoming government had this lovely idea of joined-up prosecuting. Hey, let's get them all in under one roof. Crown Prosecution Service, Revenue and Customs, Office of Fair Trading, FSA, one super group. And that way, we'll show that we dominate world prosecution for fraud. Well, it's a lovely idea, in theory, but that's when we hit the financial reality. It is also very, very expensive. You cannot investigate fraud, and particularly not insider dealing, on the cheap. At the time of the idea of the Economic Crime Agency, you then have swinging cuts. 24% in real terms over 4 years for the CPS and probably for the SFO. So not only do they not get more money, they're actually going to have substantially less. And how would this wonderful new joined-up agency actually work in practice? Well, very good commentators, such as Monty Raphael, who was a senior partner at Peters & Peters and is now their special counsel, wrote an article in which he said in terms, time is not right for the Economic Crime Agency. It will be underfunded, it won't do its job properly, and it's likely to be a complete mess. And then in November of last year came the announcement of an apparent U-turn, that after all this, the FSA was going to keep its powers and would carry on prosecuting insider dealing. It's still not certain, no final decision has been taken. But my own view is the battle between political will and financial reality, I think financial reality will win out. Why? And it really comes down to these 3 points, which the other speakers have touched on as well. In order to investigate this type of offence, you need very substantial expertise. The case team which I have for the insider dealing ring is very large indeed and involves expert accountants, experts on computer analysis, and a very substantial team of lawyers. There is absolutely no way, if we're going to prosecute this type of crime, it can be done on the cheap. So you need expertise, and the investigation comes with a high price. I should say this, you also in fact need expertise to defend this type of case. And the 2 firms which are both represented here this morning both have that particular expertise. It is not an area where people can just wander in, pick up the brief and hope for the best. In order to defend this type of case properly and fairly, you need to know what you're doing. And that, of course, in its own turn, puts a strain on the Legal Services Commission and your purse. The third reason why I believe the FSA will keep its powers under whatever badge it's given is that they have the regulatory option. They are they have a discretion as to whether to prosecute or not. In appropriate cases, they can deal with the case down the regulatory route rather than the criminal route. And that, again, is a very, very powerful tool in their toolbox and is much more akin to the type of powers used in the USA. Of course, you could start to give other bodies the regulatory option, but it's very difficult because the CPS does not regulate those who deal in the city. They are not the regulator. So quite how would it work? And even if you could try and cobble together something on that, you're back to the money. Who's going to pay with a shrinking budget? And so, for those 3 particular reasons, my own view is that these prosecutions will continue. They're going to be tested now in the courts with the larger cases. Can it be done properly and fairly? And I believe that they will not be subsumed at the moment into the Economic Crime Agency, but will continue as a specialist prosecuting body in this area. Now, what I'm hoping that we've done between the 3 of us is plant some ideas with you, other than when can I have my coffee, and that we can start to generate some debate and thoughts which all of us, as in our own ways, experts or practitioners in this field, can take away with us. And I hope very much, without picking on them, that the representatives from the 2 firms I've mentioned, with their expertise, will join in this debate. That's all I have to say to you at the moment, and I look forward to hearing your questions and comments. Thank you very much.